has announced that she will run in the newly approved 6th District in this year's election. Coming up, a grand jury's indicted actor Alec Baldwin for the 2021 fatal movie set shooting. How the actor's defense team is responding. Plus, thousands of prosecutors brought the case before a grand jury after getting new analysis of the gun used on set. Prosecutors had previously dismissed an involuntary manslaughter charge against Baldwin last year, saying they were informed the gun used in the shooting might have been modified. Baldwin had said that he never pulled the gun's trigger. Instead, he says he pulled back the gun's hammer, and the weapon fired. Baldwin's defense attorneys have vowed to fight these charges. Thousands of anti-abortion protesters rallied in Washington, D.C. today for the annual March for Life. Despite the snowy conditions, large crowds packed the streets of the Capitol, demanding protection for life from the moment of conception. House Speaker Mike Johnson addressed the crowd.
I am myself a product of an unplanned pregnancy. In January of 1972, exactly 1 year before Roe v. Wade, my parents, who were just teenagers at the time, chose life. And I am very profoundly grateful that they did.
In June of 2022, the Supreme Court ended the federal protection for abortion rights, but some abortion bans have failed at the ballots, including in states like Ohio, Kansas, and Kentucky. Abortion rights is expected to play a major role in the 2024 presidential election. Who's inherent smarts or biological advantages? The study says as boys are being raised, they gain different skills, such as by playing outside more often than girls, that helps them with directional abilities. A new study shows adding a multivitamin to your diet can help improve memory loss in adults. The study says taking a multivitamin daily could help fight off memory loss in adults ages 60 and older. The analysis of all three studies says multivitamins can help cognitive functions like reasoning, recalled memories, and attention. Researchers say it's not clear yet which vitamins precisely have the best effects. The study was a collection of 3 studies put together by the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition. Parents. Low-income families will especially benefit because the credit will be paid as a check even to parents who have very little income. But critics say that reduces their incentive to work. Fox's Rebecca Castor reports.
This is a copy of the federal.
It's almost that time of year again when Americans file their taxes and Uncle Sam decides if you owe money or get some back. But this tax season, parents could catch a break.
What we're trying to do is create some breathing room for parents.
Lawmakers from both parties hope to do that by increasing and expanding the child tax credit to include more low-income families. It's part of Congress's latest tax plan, an $80 billion bipartisan deal.
It's going to help them deal with inflation and put food on the table, put shelter over their heads, be able to deal with child care costs.
Under the new plan, the max refundable amount for parents would increase from the current level of $1,600 per child to $1,800 for 2023, $1,900 in 2024, and $2,000 in 2025. Republicans and Democrats see it as a win-win. Low-income families are receiving more assistance, and Republicans negotiated more tax breaks for U.S. companies.
It represents a great opportunity to help working families.
The last time the child tax credit increased was in 2021, and data from the U.S. Census Bureau indicates it helped lift 3 million children out of poverty. But critics argue the new qualifications to receive the credit walk a fine line and could discourage people from working. Parents can now rely on last year's income and still claim the credit.
When you de-link work, you actually make people's lives worse.
Still, lawmakers hope to pass the bill before tax filing season begins on January 29th. In Washington, Rebecca Castor, Fox News.
Almost to the 70s by next week. I'm tracking the numbers in your NetSmith test for rain.
Rain.
His administration's approved debt cancellation for 74,000 borrowers, bringing the total number of Americans with canceled debt to 3.7 million. Biden says 44,000 of the borrowers approved for debt relief have at least 10 years of public service experience. The president also says the administration's working to continue to work on alternative paths for debt relief. Some of Metro Atlanta's littlest Oni Lael Hart. Authorities later found Hart at a home on Fielding Way in Hampton, but she wouldn't voluntarily surrender.
Cobb County police arrested a woman in connection to the death of a Six Flags Over Georgia employee. Cobb County police say that Asia Hendricks was driving her Fright Fest to their locations last October. That's when Andrea Crook was ejected from the van. The Villa Rica woman died at Grady Memorial Hospital from serious head injuries. They say that the vehicle was a cargo van that didn't have any seats. Officers have charged with involuntary manslaughter and reckless conduct. New tonight, dramatic video to the newsroom showing an armed robbery in Floyd County.
Put the money back there. Come on, money back now. Come give me the bag.
Police say it happened last Friday, January 12th, in Amarici. As you saw, the robber smashes a window, then points a gun at the store clerk and demands money. Police say what happened here to reach out to them. A unique view of a high-speed chase in Fayette County. The sheriff's office posted this video showing a chase involving a stolen Kia. 2 juveniles were inside. You can see how tough it is for the deputies to keep up with the stolen car. Deputies say at one point the driver topped 120 miles an hour. They eventually turned down a dead-end street,
run right in their house,
and took off. They were later arrested on numerous charges. Sheriff's deputies in one metro Atlanta County have a new tool to fight crime in the digital age. The Barrow County Sheriff has announced a partnership with a Flock Safety that would allow businesses and homes to integrate their cameras with his department. But NewsEdge reporter Rob DiRienzo has found that there are some big privacy concerns. He spoke one-on-one with Barrow Sheriff Judd Smith about the concerns.
The Barrow County Sheriff asking residents and businesses to register their security cameras with his office. The goal to create a new network of cameras to combat crime.
We want to know if we can use your cameras to see if there was anything that might have captured the crime.
The system is through Flock Safety, the same Atlanta-based company that's installed these license plate readers across the region that notify police of stolen cars or wanted drivers. The sheriff says this is a little different, but the goal is the same.
We have an incident enforcement canvas. Well, we have a login area, dot that house that says I have cameras.
But already he's heard serious privacy concerns from Barrow residents. The sheriff stresses this program is purely voluntary.
Barrow County Sheriff's Office is not going to be going into someone's home and watching what they're doing and watching their cameras.
It's purely used for solving crime.
Holly Beelan is a spokesperson for Flock. She says while there is an option to integrate your camera so first responders can tap into it, you'll still have full control.
Nobody is automatically connected in the network. They choose who they share with, when they share, where they share.
Last year, Flock cameras tracked the suspected Midtown shooter to Cobb County within a matter of hours.
Once he entered Cobb County and passed a Flock camera, authorities there got that alert that that individual and that suspect vehicle had entered the county.
Earlier this month, the system helped Forest Park Police track an active shooter to Powder Springs. He's now in custody. But Sheriff Smith emphasized this tech will not replace boots on the ground.
We're still going to go do good old-fashioned police work and go door to door. If time is of the essence, we can say, hey, we might have got something 20 minutes ago on this camera.
New tools for law enforcement fighting crime in the digital age. In Barrow County, Rob DiRienzo, Fox 5 News.
The Douglas County Animal Shelters temporarily closed due to a pneumonia outbreak. No people or animals are allowed in or out. The Georgia Department of Agriculture ordered the quarantine after 14 dogs caught pneumonia. It's just about 10% of the shelter's dogs' population. The vet we spoke with says that pneumonia in dogs can be deadly.
Yeah.
And when we see it progress to pneumonia, that can happen with more signs like lethargy, decreased appetite. That cough can turn productive, where you're seeing a lot of phlegm. That clear nasal discharge is kind of getting very thick, mucusy, and then their breathing can change.
The county says that the shelter needs blanket toys, pucks, and treats. You can drop off options at the shelter. Southern Cobb County is under a boil water advisory tonight. County officials say that there was a 36-inch water main break on Macedonia Road at Powder Springs. Macedonia Road is closed. Pickens Road and Ernest W. Bear Parkway, Cruz Road in Maine. It's expected to take all weekend. There's a map of who's under the boil water advisory online. The border looks a little bit different tonight. Coming up, the change Texas officials made to try to deter illegal crossings at the border. And earlier today, President Biden announced that he's canceling nearly $5 billion in student loan debt.
He's buying votes.
Are reacting tonight.
If you've been injured in a car accident,
Russia and Ukraine rages on. NATO's announced its biggest military exercise in Europe since the Cold War, dubbed Steadfast Defender 24. Starting next week, 90,000 troops, 1,100 tanks and combat vehicles, and 130 jets and ships will be in action. The drill is aimed at getting U.S. forces to Europe and rehearsing, at least NATO deterring Russia from targeting a member country.
Steadfast Defender 24 will be a clear demonstration of our unity, our strength, and our determination to protect each other.
Another top NATO official says they're facing the most dangerous world in decades, calling for a war-making transformation of the alliance. The war is increasingly becoming a grinding stalemate with Russian dug in and blasting away.